Hello and welcome to the Wednesday check-in here on Landy's Crypto Corner. Today, of course, as always, we're looking at Bitcoin. And Bitcoin did hit some of our key levels to the downside that we talked about on Monday. On Monday's candle after close, we had already seen one of the top side of the key levels that I talked about at 92.5 hit here on the Monday low, 92,534 in this case. And I'd mentioned that kind of the zone of interest below 92.5 was around 90,000 and 92.5 as a zone of interest. And that we wanted to see Bitcoin put in a higher low structure somewhere above the last swing higher low. Let me go ahead and hunt for the completely wrong thing here and actually grab the arrow correctly. But the last actual higher low on a closing basis, and in this case, a swing high to swing higher low structure, and that was around that $88,700 to $89,000, depending on your exchange. Wanted to see that area hold up. Wanted to see closes above the basis band, and we have seen that. Bitcoin has now put in a low. So the swing low now coming in at 90,000. Looks like 90,682. It might have went lower on some other exchanges, but this is spot price on Coinbase. And then, of course, closed above the Tuesday high here in the Wednesday candle. Now it is still Wednesday for me, but we do have the Thursday candle open rather. But in this case, we saw the close above $95,000, which was one of the areas that we had previously talked about. Below 95, we were looking 93.5 to 92.5. Below 92.5, it was 90K to 92.5 essentially as the zone of interest. And then, of course, we saw that rejection on Tuesday come in at around $95,000. That has now been closed above, thus solidifying this structure as a closing low. We still need to see Bitcoin take out the bear wick high from the Monday candle, though, and that is at $99,000. That's the next big area for Bitcoin to take out to the upside here, to then go test the highs at just shy of $100,000, $140 short of $100,000 here at 99,860. Above there, I am looking 100K to the upper second, somewhere around $103,000. Now, again, we've gone from expansion into this compression. And if we were to see closes above the upper second, that's when we can start entertaining some of the volatility levels and Fibonacci levels above and kind of where they sync up. But in this case, we do also need to see closes above this upper first. And the upper first on a closing basis would be at around 97,100 to 97,200 or so. And again, even above there, closes above there, well, from a volatility standpoint, would be positive. I need to see that bearish candle wick high there, which was a retest of the close open all-time high here at $99,000, just shy of it, $99,044. We saw that swing high come in at 98,999 even. That was a rejective area. So if Bitcoin can trade back above there, it's running for the highs and higher towards that 100K and above, and would look really, really good. Let's go ahead and check on a few other things. So we kind of talked about trend. This is still an uptrend. And we want to take a look at, we've talked about trend, support and resistance. Essentially, we're not drawing boxes around. I can draw some 4-hour time frame boxes around this just to kind of illustrate my point, but we should look at some momentum-based indicators, and that would be stochastic momentum after this RSI here. So we do see, we had a drive of bearish divergence. It's not populating on this particular indicator, but once the high at just shy of 100K was put in, we did get a drive of regular bearish divergence or in-trend bearish divergence. And I'm not looking for like a daily reversal and a bigger correction until we see subsequent drives. And that would mean that we would need to see higher highs, right? We could get some other bearish divergences from some other areas of the chart here, but in general for in trend, I want to see higher highs with lower highs on RSI. So higher highs on price action on a close, lower highs on RSI. That would give us another bearish divergence. And then I would probably want to see a third drive there. In this case, this is continuation, and it's continuation to the highs in general when you see a signal like this. and it's bounce within or just kind of outside of the bullish control zone here of RSI. And in general, I'm looking to the highs and higher. And, have we already seen that? That remains to be seen. We can even check maybe on the 12-hour and the 4-hour and do some longer term time frame analysis on Friday instead of having to reference it midweek here. Keep this video a little bit shorter. In this case, the bullish control zone is here at $94,000. Basically, that is the 58 read, I believe, or it's the 60 read. Might even be the 62. What do I have this set at? Let's go ahead and take a look. This is the 62 read of RSI. Whoops, my apologies. So that's right around $94,000. And where is the simple moving average? That'll give us a nice gauge. Hey, look at that. It's 103,750. And just in case it breaks out and wants to run, where is the upper end here where it would avoid the bearish divergences from these two areas? I would say that it would have to get above or right around that 85 read, which is the critical zone. And that's actually $128,000, almost 130. That is pretty interesting. We have some Fibonacci levels that are in and around that area for longer term, like the bear market pull. Let's see the structural pull here. So the 1.618 at $95,000. Nice to see that area regained. And you can even see on the daily here how that was a rejected area when Bitcoin broke down back below it. Above here, just below the upper second standard deviation is the 1786 at just shy of $102,000. Above there, we've got, I would be in general above the upper second at that 100. I'm going to call it 103 because if Bitcoin does start to get above the upper first and move towards the upper second, beware of reversals, one. But two, because we are in a compression phase, if it does crack above it, that will reignite expansion, right? So in this case, above $103,000 or so, I would start to look to 105, 106 at this 1.888. And then above there, wherever the upper third is, it's currently at 108. So you can call it 108 to 110, then 110 to this 2 spot up here. I would even give it some room to 112. So kind of a range basically between the upper third at 108 to I would call it 112 by the 2 spot. We have the 272 is $124,000. And of course, we have the 2414. And this is just from the consolidation pull there. There at $130,000, kind of bracketing that upper echelon of the more extreme read of RSI. Here's something a little bit interesting. I believe if we were to pull the bear market fib, I believe there's like $128,000 is one of the actual levels. Let me go ahead and check. Is that like the 414? Yes, 1414. There it is. 128,173 when you do a fib extension here. And again, we have some confluence around the $103,000 range on the more macro time frames at the 1272 bear market fib extension pull. Now, you can see the upper third on the monthly is right around 108. If we start to move closer towards it, it's probably going to be closer to 110. Of course, after the monthly close, this will update and be further up. Likely 115, maybe even a little bit higher. Now, in this case, if we go back and just reference that daily RSI extreme read at an 85, which isn't necessarily too extreme. We did hit it here, and I mean, it was an extreme move. But in this case, the actual extremes, I believe around the 88 is what I have marked here. That's just a general guidance. But that number there at the 85 would be 128,320. So right around where that 1414 is at 128,173. So we do have confluence overhead. Now, again, if Bitcoin falls shy of that, we're going to see bearish divergence form again. That would be a second drive. And again, I want to be very clear. There is a drive here. It's just not populating on this particular indicator. For the daily, in terms of stock momentum, we do have some nice trendline regression stuff going on here. You can play this because it's a regular Stoch, not a Stoch RSI. Stoch RSI, we're already referencing RSI. We don't need a Stoch RSI. And so instead, I'm using a regular Stoch, which is measuring close over close price momentum. So momentum on the closes. Now we have had a daily higher low set on a close that is not yet reflected. This does lag. This is running 6-3, 14, 255 look back. This is a paid indicator. There's plenty of free ones that have pivots. Let's take a look at that pivot. $99,000. Isn't that the number we were just talking about that Bitcoin needs to take out to the upside? That's the close open all-time high. That is the Monday high as well. And that's the next area that we need to see recovered by the bulls to go test $100,000 and above. Let's go ahead and take a trend line and just kind of get a little bit of trend line regression going here and see where we could potentially see this kind of come down to. So we got kind of a little bit of space here and even a little bit more of a parabola here between these two. So there's kind of a zone of interest here for a potential reversal. So if we see Bitcoin continuing to rise through the Thursday candle into Friday, we'll likely see this start to turn around, even if this number is not met. So like even if it closes here or higher without going above $99,000, what we'll see with this Stochastic momentum indicator is that it will still come down to this kind of trend line regression area. And if it were to close again and let's say it opens on the pivot, we'll start to see it bounce from this area. If not, I would take the next leg down in that and just make sure that our most recent low is holding. In terms of looking for a momentum shift in this regard. And the most recent higher low, of course, is going to be that 90,682 again. So anywhere below there, back below 95, again, we're looking left to this structure over here, right? We've got the 93.5 to 92.5 level, which was a fib pull level that was of interest just from this consolidation right here. Right, so when we pull this daily consolidation, kind of wick high to wick low, as the move was still going on here, just this little swing, even though on the swing chart it's not actually noted as a swing. Maybe it wasn't that one. Which one was I pulling? Actually, now that I think about it, it was a 4-hour, wasn't it? It was a 4. Let's go ahead and check on that 4-hour actually. So now this was the consolidation I was looking at. Yeah. So this was the Monday low coming in right here into this 888 at 92.5. Bounced up, rejected 95, and then dumped down to our 91 there at the 786, and then tried to pull down for that $90,000. Got caught up here. Now, here's what's interesting. Let's go ahead and take a look at the 12-hour. The daily Stochastic is pointed down. 12-hour got its beautiful bounce off the lower first standard deviation after a big expansive move up and then a pivot off of the upper second in terms of volatility. Nice little swing downtrend here with a closing lower high, closing lower low. What do we need to see taken out? Again, $99,000. That would be the shorter term time frame trend break. And we typically, when going back into kind of a contraction or a band squeeze like this, mean reversion back to the lower first is fine. Even a reversal, if it's above the last higher low off of the lower second, and it currently is, it was not at the time, it would have been around equal low territory. But, I would be looking for, in the context of very, very kind of ranging kind of a look on the bands here in terms of compression to expansion, that we would get support in and around these areas. And then, of course, if we were to fall below this low, we start expanding towards this one and possibly further down. Now, back above the upper second, which is at $101,000 on the 12-hour, of course, that would be a trend break and then breaking the all-time high. And then we're looking up for that expansion. Again, we're looking 103, above 103. We're looking roughly, this is the upper third is at around 104 for the 12-hour, but we'd probably be looking for expansion up to 105, 106. Now, where is the 12-hour in terms of its potential to pivot? We can take this daily trend line regression off here for those two areas of interest that, it's just interesting to note where that might come in. There is a little bit of trend line regression stuff going on here as well for the 12-hour. Again, this is a regular Stochastic, and it's looking as though any kind of closure above $95,000 in the next 12-hour candle will shift momentum back to the upside. For those that understand what DMI is, it is turning green on these last two 12-hour candles. That's looking pretty good. We see that we had that expansion to the upside, the continued expansion, then mean reversion. Now we're seeing trend kind of cool down. We need to see a trend break and then another 12-hour higher low trend commence. Let's go ahead and check on the 4-hour real quick, and then I will let you go and talk to you again on Friday. But 4-hour looks pretty good. We do have a trend break. What do we need to see next on the 4-hour? Well, we need to see a higher low form. This might be a high here at, if it holds at this 97,386 or 97.4 area. Any trading above there, I'm looking for the highs to be in play again. $99,000, somewhere around this upper second on the 4 would be fair game. Any closes above, and we're looking for the highs and higher, of course. Again, on the 4-hour, even 101. 400 is a target upon first pass, likely to push up to 102 to 103 if Bitcoin does start to head in that direction during these 4-hour closes. Basis band is right around, you guessed it, $95,000. We would like to see the 4-hour basis band hold up. And because this is a trend break, so we have this 4-hour swing downtrend. So we didn't quite get a low closed, but we got a swing low confirmed here with the bull candle, and then we got a swing high and a closing lower high here down to lower lows, and then the trend break up. So where would we see this really start to paint the high here? Somewhere below 95 and a half to 95 300 or 250 here. That would paint a high here. We would want to start being on the lookout for higher low structure. If 95 is lost, we look to that lower first. And you guessed it, that's right around 92.7 right now. Wicks down to 92.5. Fair game. And then anywhere below there, that's a possibility this becomes a deviation or a bull trap. And then it heads back down if it takes out this low at 90,682, and that lower second, we're looking for expansion down to the bottom side structures over here. Some of the top side structures are still left, so it could save itself on swings. We don't want to see closes below this lower second. You can see how the initial two highs or swing highs here after the big move up to $90,000 is right around that area as well. But we're working our ways highs to lows when looking left. In this case, if price moves back down, and I like that this low is recovered. I would like to see it kind of hold up and maybe throw a red candle and then just get continuation to the upside for the 4-hour. We don't really have any bullish divergence. I mean, there is a little bit here. Yeah, it's kind of dicey. There is a little bit there, but not enough because it didn't actually close that low that I just referenced a moment ago. Some might, throw, or some indicators might throw a regular bullish divergence there. It's kind of iffy. I'd want to see a closing low bullish div there instead, but that would require Bitcoin to head back down and make lower lows. So we'd like to see where this kind of heads up and tries for swing higher lows or swing higher low closes. Now on the 4-hour looks good. Where is the bullish control zone? Bullish control zone is at 98,520. Looks good. Where's the SMA? SMA is at 92.8. Right in that 92.5 to 93.5 zone. Anywhere below there, I'm looking 90K again, which would be, somewhere, 92.5 to 90K. And we see that the bearish control zone down here is at $91,000. So let's look at momentum. Momentum on the 4-hour looks good. Above 92,750 or 92,740 in this case. So yeah, long and the short of it, easy. Take out 99 to the upside. Excuse me, been talking all day. Take out 99 to the upside. 100K is in sight and higher. I would take it, 100 to 103, above 103, looking to 105, 106 above there. Excuse me, 106 to 108. My apologies for the coughing. And then 108 to kind of 112 with maybe a pit stop at 110. It is a nice even number. So we do tend to see shorter term time frame sell off from that. We'll see what the 100K sell wall looks like. I think long-term holders are kind of tapped out. I'm going to hold on to the rest of their bags, to be quite honest, but I could be wrong. The chart will tell us. And the price action, when it starts to retest those areas, eventually will tell us everything we need to know. You have a wonderful morning, afternoon, and evening, no matter where you are in the world. Please trade safe. And of course, as always, stay safe. I'll talk to you again on Friday. We'll touch on the longer term timeframes. Take care. Landy out.